Well, yes, now we'll quickly move on to another panel discussion on innovation, Gen AI and human alchemy, imagining a new era in digital finance. Let's welcome our co-panelist here on stage, Mr. Sireesh Patnaik, SVP and Head of Engineering at Pennant Technology, Mr. Dillip Kumar, SVP to Head of Data Cloud Platform, HDFC Bank, Ms. Chaitra, co-founder Salt mysaltapp. And the moderator for this session would be Mr. Prasanna Lohar, CEO, Blockstack. Let's welcome all of them here on stage.
Very good afternoon. Thank you very much, organizer of this event, for bringing this panel discussion. I think we had a very good insights from the earlier talk, which is around GenAI from Mr. Sanath. So in this panel, we'll discuss about what has happened to the banking and finance last so many years, and all of a sudden we are talking about AI, GenAI, and what is the norm now, and how this norm is going to help future of finance. So typically what we have seen earlier days, or the way communication methodologies from 1.0 to now today we talk about 5G, which has helped a customer behavior change. And whenever a customer behavior changes happen, that is how we start adopting many more tools, technologies, how to take care of a customer experience. Imagine we are in era of 1990s or 2000, and that moment we'll talk about internet as a tool which will redefine the finance. We come to the 2008, we'll talk about maybe mobility or Android or iOS phone will do the redefine the finance. While we are in the era of 4G to 5G, we talk about how communication methodologies are going to change the finance. But all of a sudden, we have seen the internet being a foundational tech, and today everything happens on internet. And imagine you are banking without internet, it is only in bank branches, right? But the customer expects everything all around. Customer expects 24/7. Customer expects it's real time. And it's not only your end customer. Within a bank also, there are internal customers. So employees who are working in operations, they also expect a lot of automation tools in their hand, right? And while we are serving the customers in a bank branch, slowly moved on to the online mode or mobile mode. And now customer wants banking or finances wherever they are. It's not only through banking interface, they want through some fintech interface also, right? So now looking at that, banking is now where we have reached. It's a part of a maybe digital banking. And slowly we are talking about intelligent banking era. And this intelligent banking era will be well supported by AI or blockchain, these kind of technologies. So what has happened last couple of years, right? After 22, where we have seen GenAI or ChatGPT kind of a moment came, and everybody is talking about ChatGPT, right? And they are creating PPTs, they are creating content, they are creating movies, art, or the way we have heard in the earlier session, right? And it has really helped the way we are doing your manual work. The automation is going to the next level. While we have seen AI as the superset of many automation technology like OCR or RPA or IA, all of a sudden the GenAI comes and says everything will change. People talk about of losing job, which was a little bit question when AI was there. But now GenAI is there, it is really giving an adoption of new roles coming in. If you talk about academia, government, or you talk about corporates, everybody has changed. In the sense, they have added those external roles, internal roles. We have now data scientist, chief data scientist, or chief data or chief AI officer in some of the banks. We have seen academia also. Earlier we had only few, 2-3 streams, maybe mechanical, engineering, or electrical. Now we have AI also. So the fact today in 2024, where most of the banks globally are looking at how they can use the data, how they can take care of a customer experience, and as well as how they can take care of a better risk controls, apart from sustainability, ESG, which is the other areas. But let us bring on what is the GenAI is all about, right? Sireesh, I think coming from a banking background, the way banks were living in the traditional model, and all of a sudden customer pushes comes and says, let us be on mobile and internet. But how do you see banking today in 2024? What all things we are doing to adopt the GenAI in a bank like HDFC? Yeah.
Sure. So I think Gen AI, first of all, we need to acknowledge that it is science, right? It is not just a magic wand which could just, say abracadabra and then do everything that you want. There's a lot of science behind it. So it's important to understand that science. And that's where we are right now. So while the models, like you mentioned, ChatGPT, Bard, Vertex AIs, etc., they have come in and they have evolved, but the way that the banks and financial organizations are looking to adopt to this particular change is to find those specific use cases, right? Because it is again, AI or Gen AI being so vast in terms of the parameters that it has trained. Like if you look at ChatGPT, there are more than 1.3 trillion parameters that they have trained as of now. So with that kind of a parameterization that is available, I think the use cases are just too many, right? So banks especially are looking into risk, fraud, and efficiencies as the main kind of categories in which they are looking to implement Gen AI in various kind of models. And one of the major area that I'm sure would come as part of our discussions is again the customer service element. So these are the main areas where this is coming in, and any specific areas, then we can get into more details and then talk about that.
So if you look at journey of any bank today, right? Maybe 2016, it was very hard to sell any technology to the decision makers. I remember my days in DCB Bank. I have taught them what is API or what is data or big data. It took maybe 18 months for us to justify, yeah, we need to go for a particular partner on big data, or it took at least 2 years to bring the architecture from monolithic to the maybe microservice architecture and so on. So while now people have understood there is no escape from AI or Gen AI, and banks are really doing it, and there are some good banks. I think Dilipji, you can talk about how banks are looking at this as an opportunity, and what it could be the best practices for any banks to follow, while HDFC is already there and doing some of those use cases under your guidance. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just giving some of the statistics. If you look at last global fintech happened in Mumbai, right? What RBI he was talking that 1.2 billion of transaction was happening in 2014, and it became 90 billion around 22, right? Similarly, 70 million user telephonic user today is 800 millions. That means the digital infrastructure is so rapidly growing, right? That's what the LLM concept, what people are talking today, right? ChatGPT is one of the, GenAI. So it is advanced version of the AI, wherein technically people talks, it is unsupervised learning, right? So everything is supervised, means everything known to the, output, people model all the parameters, they do the feature engineering, they do the, AI, ML ops and all, get the data. Now coming into the banks, when, 800 billions of transaction is going to happen, right, in any of the banks. So naturally, we are also trying to shift towards the Gen AI, right? Everything is unknown to us, and we are trying to solve the problems, right? So for us, today we are working almost 3 to 4 major areas. One is the credit approval. So earlier, we just apply the models which give the loan approval process. But now we are trying to find out what is the approval ratings. If somebody is applying the car loan, home loan, or any other kind of loans, right? And we are talking about the 5 seconds. That means enter AI models with Gen kind of implementation has to walk in very quick flow, and it has to consider the the ages, the income, the change of the exchange, then gender, the pattern. All these things has to be adopted as part of the. So that's one of the credit approval, whether that credit has to go to the particular customer or not, right? Similarly, loan underwriting, right? That's another strongest use cases which we are trying to do it. So over a year in 2020, if you look at in US, almost $1 billion was losses because of bad loan underwriting, and there was almost 22 such events happened in the US, and it was a lot of losses, right? And we cannot bear so much losses because there is something fundamental happening wrong, right? So that's where we are trying to figure out all alternative data which can gives the lot of a profile for that particular customers, right? That's what a loan underwriting we can do that. Similar third use cases we are attempting to do the customer better, focused, kind of a nudging kind of stuff, right? How you ensure that a particular guy who has the right kind of preference, and we have to provide the right kind of, the cross-sell, upsell, then, and the, upcoming, because any new customer is always, very tough, or we invest a lot of money. But the old customers, we want to retain, that is much, much cheaper price. That means your customer segment should not be, AI driven, it should be GenAI. So these are the couple of, kind of programs we are trying to build as part of the banks. And I have seen in a lot of forums, most of the banks, they are trying to implement the GenAI, because one of the cases where people want to implement, later there is, 6,000 people, so they are working in the, different branches. And every time, almost there is, 100 million customers banks are serving, and they want to capture the, forms, XYZ, while filling the, or opening the CASA account. And in that cases, what happens, you need to scan so many documents. Those documents sometimes are not readable. So you should intelligently, adapt those text, OCR conversion, and ensure that, at least 95 plus,
Yes.
kind of person. So those are typical use cases. We want to do it so that, the rate approval process, then, consumption part will be much, much higher, and the people, satisfaction will be much better, right? Somebody applies loans. If you talk about somebody apply loans, and many times he did not complete his digital journey, right? So what happens, banks discards that money, that, hey, your PAN number is not right, or your Aadhaar number is not right. Because all the different source systems, be it loan system, be it CASA system, be it other system, they work, separately. There is no, centralized place in any banks you go, right? So now the question has raised that how we manage the centralized and ensure, customer doesn't drop at any given time, right? So those are the, very arising and unsupervising demand for the banks, and we must find the way how to sort it out, how to progress and solve the, the customers. So
I think good. So ultimately, it is all about better customer experience, and most of the banks or HDFC Bank has implemented GenAI kind of use cases to have a better customer experience. So the way we see, customer used to go to the bank, to the branch, or used to take out the phone and see the transactions and see the account balances in mobile or internet banking. Now, banks are coming back and saying this is something available for you as a next-gen banking. So that's how future of finance look at. So, and while there are a lot of models, products bank is coming up, but fintech also now helping banks to do the better banking. What we have seen since last 2015-16, payments followed by insurance or maybe lending has come on to the fintech. But I think advisory part, which is still banks are not allowed, or they are less on top of that, where Salt comes into picture. So Chaitra, can you enlighten us or tell us about what is the Salt about, and then we'll talk about how Salt as a company is utilizing AI. Yeah.
Sure. So Salt is in the space of personal finance management, right? All of us know how to earn money. We know how to spend it, but managing it is where all of us, irrespective of, age, gender, income segment, we struggle. And there's always an underlying anxiety for majority of the people. Am I doing it right? Am I doing enough? How do I compare to my peers, etc.? So Salt's mission has been to help bridge that gap in finance. And we started our journey thinking that women are the ones who actually are the most at the suffering end of this gap. But as soon as we started, we released our first POC into the App Store and Play Store, we saw that more than half of our customers were men, right? And we realized, and they started reaching out and they started telling us that, hey, we have the same problems. We don't really know what we're doing. Sure, we do something, but we don't really feel in control and in charge, right? So I think the way Salt has evolved, today my vision is, why can we not create a Jarvis for money, right? Which sits in all of our pockets. Those of you who are Iron Man fans will know what Jarvis does for him, right? Jarvis saves his life, Jarvis does everything. Why can we not have something like that for money? That's the vision for Salt. Now, we are at the very 0.5% or 1% of that journey we have undertaken. Today, you download Salt app, you will see a tool called Passbook. Now, passbook is the beginning or the genesis of that Jarvis vision. And today you can talk to passbook and tell it whatever expenses you're making, right? Or whatever investments you're making. It starts off as a tracker. So you just, the way our users use it, they type in vada pav 20, shitty pizza with friends, 500, they put a sad emoji. So it captures emotions, it captures everything about that transaction that the person wants to share. Now, the reason we did it this way, people ask that, Arey, in this zamana, why are you not using automation? Why are you doing it manually? But the very simple insight was trust. When we talk about AI, naturally, we talk about trust. Even the previous speaker was talking about it. People they're very apprehensive about what is going to happen to my data. How is it going to be misused against me if I put it out there? Right? So we did a decent amount of surveying of the audience, and we realized that, many of you must have read this, 100 million Indians are going to become affluent in the next 3 years report by Goldman Sachs. 87% of those Indians today don't use fintech apps for beyond payments. Banks should be feeling very happy about it. And so you have an opportunity still, right? So I think that is really what I'm talking about, because trust was not there. So if we had started with, give me your SMS permission or email permission, nobody would have used it. So we said, don't give any permission, just like you would write somewhere, type it in. And that's the LLM model that we built before ChatGPT was even known to us, right? So this was 1.5 years back was when we POC'd it, purely from a perspective of, okay, this 87% we need to bring them on to comfort with fintech, comfort with applications. How do you build trust? What is the app they use the most? WhatsApp. How do they use it? They just type in some text. Now imagine if WhatsApp, whatever you type in, can be intelligently mirrored back to you for whatever application you want. That is what Salt's vision for Passbook became. And the way it will evolve is, today you can do expense management through it. The next feature we have already POC'd is you can do your own querying on your own data. You can find out, you can slice and dice and look at your own data however you want. How much did I spend on vada pav in the last year? How much did I spend on coffee? How much did I spend with my friends, right? Anything. Next is simple questions that all of us deal with on a day-to-day basis, which is, what do people in my income bracket spend on a television? So next time you're in the market for a television and you're feeling guilty buying that 65-inch TV, you can query this tool and find out what do people do. And then, because ultimately what people are looking for is comfort when it comes to money decisions, right? So that's the next thing. And later on, the following one is, I don't know how many of you use the Midjourney bot on Discord. For design. Designers use it, right? So my design team, it has improved our efficiency significantly, because wherever I don't need specialized designs, where I'm, like, let's say I want to create for an ad, I want a gold bangle ka image. Midjourney bot is perfect for that. Now, the beauty of Midjourney bot is anything that a designer queries, is the result of that is also available for everybody else to see and use. So you're kind of crowdsourcing creativity in that sense, right? So similarly, money ke liye bhi, today there's no social media platform where people are coming and talking about money and these simple day-to-day decisions. So the industrialization of finance has made money seem like a very complex, rocket science, difficult, boring subject. So our vision at Salt is use personal finance, use AI, GenAI, AI, ML, to make this, to dismantle this notion, to make money fun, to make it personal, to make it useful on a day-to-day basis by creating this Jarvis for money eventually. It'll take time though. Like all of us have been discussing, time and money, because GenAI is very expensive at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite expensive, and ChatGPT founder must be knowing how much expense is all about for just for a creation of simple content. What is the capital of India? It's a simple thing, but when it comes to GenAI, it costs a lot. It's more than 30-40 rupees, right? You can say just for one particular query. I think it's good to see that now GenAI is a norm, right? Everybody is going to, at least 80% banks in India know AI, GenAI has to be utilized. They have hired those guys. They're working with the partners, and Sireesh, you are there, and you must be seeing that journey with the multiple banks, how you are bringing in. So what are those top use cases you have seen, and what is that guideline you should talk about to the banks to follow, Sireesh, so that it's costly, right? So, but how do you save the cost being a partner also? What are those best practices a bank should follow? While selecting partners is one part, but which are the top use cases they should really emphasize on? Because it is ultimately for management is, or for business team is, if they are investing something, how much ROI they are getting into in 2024, 2025. So considering these 2 years, what are those top use cases considering competition bank, collaboration bank, multiple areas coming like public digital infrastructure, a lot of data is available, and as sir said, now one transaction is now multifolding into 7, 8 times because the same data is available into big data, reconciliation, and everywhere. Yeah.
Sure, Prasanna. Obviously, from a bank's perspective, I think the first focus is on the operational efficiencies. It's, it's a low-hanging fruit to be addressed through GenAI, while, there are greater use cases that we'll just talk in a bit. But I think where banks, financial organizations, and in general, a lot of other organizations are implementing GenAI is to improve the overall operational efficiencies. So when I say operational efficiencies, there is a lot of automation that can be done using GenAI with a lot of generative analytics that it can offer. So like, we just heard in terms of credit underwriting, then the overall decisioning models that are being used today, which is where GenAI is being used, right? So there is a concept of alternate credit scores that are coming into picture. So imagine, just a simple use case where, a person is an NRI or never had a credit history in India. When you come to India, you don't really have a credit record, right? So when you go in terms of taking a loan or, you want to exercise your credit, you cannot really exercise it because technically your CIBIL score is 0. Right? So this is where GenAI is coming into picture, and it is giving those alternate scoring models or alternate scorecards as a different perspective to banks and fintechs today, where they are even getting into a concept of creating a social quotient. So the GenAI is able to penetrate through the, say for example, the social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. And one of the models that is being exercised is it is actually calculating a social quotient based on which it can give a alternate credit score. So if you are a HNI and I am a person who is not having a credit score, but you are as part of my network, then it actually creates a score for me because it estimates, it generates a kind of an algorithm which is saying that, okay, this could be the alternate scorecard. Similarly, for students who are graduating and just coming into jobs, fresh jobs, again, there is no kind of a scorecard that is available. So these are the various alternate scorecards where things are coming up. That's one area. The other area where the banks are working very closely with partners like us from a fintech perspective and engineering point of view is building those systems which can improve the overall efficiency. So just one of the systems that we are working right now is a low-code, no-code platform with GenAI capability, where the banks can create their workflows, their models, their skins, themes, etc., their applications the way they want, especially for the loan origination journey, so as to say, right? So there are multiple aspects that are coming in. Also to add, where the banks are exercising GenAI or looking to exercise GenAI is on fraud detection. Right? That's very prominent area where that is coming in. Security vulnerabilities, that's another area where GenAI from a technical perspective is coming into picture. Real-time vulnerability assessments. It's not like a static vulnerability or a runtime vulnerability. It's more real-time vulnerability assessments that are happening. And the entire risk management portfolios as to how the risk needs to be managed, say from an NPA perspective or predictive analytics where coupled with generative AI, where the banks are looking to manage their entire NPA books more effectively. So these are various use cases that we are working with some of the banks and
I think,
FIs.
and the way earlier we said, GenAI is all about training the model, training the data models. And the way we have seen now, we use a lot of banking as a service platforms. Maybe same API for account opening by some partner, which fintechs can use to integrate with the banks, or same API we can utilize to get some score, or some API we can utilize to do some other financial activity. So do you see these learnings or training of a models can be reshaped the way we share APIs? Do you see any other, considering here onwards, the banking we have seen 24 and before, and maybe down the line 5 years? What is that banking we will see? We'll have a more on open data, the way we have open API. Do you see that these models will be available just to plug and play and start your GenAI journey on the spot? Yeah. Maybe the same question. Dillip, you can answer. Yeah. I think we are short of time. I think she's looking at me. So let's
yeah,
take
very quickly. So in architecture world, people talks about to reusability or asset, right? So these are not bank's asset, any models you build, but bank's asset or key is its own data, right? The data it carries, it's very close to its own baby. He has to put the diaper for his baby, right? But who is putting what kind of changes in the dress and all? It's not banks, right? So that means any partner, he has put a lot of investment in bringing the, top end peoples, right? IIT, Harvard, Stanford and all, they build the asset which will take care of the, fintech ideas and all. They must be able to, make it open to everybody so that, people use it. So I don't think there is anything wrong over that. That's what the people, collaboration happens and they put a lot of code in the, under the LPG and all, in GitHub and people use that data. So it should use, so because everybody will get benefit, right? So I would suggest, in next 3 to 4 years, all the models people are talking, it should be publicly available. That's what a lot of PhD people I have seen. They run the code which goes, days and days, and those are the public, codes. So that is not somebody's code.
While you said there are a lot of challenges also, which we were discussing, like AI is there, but there has to be responsible AI or something. Learning has to be in a positive way. So those things are also now challenges. While we say,
Prasanna, I know that we are short of time, but I think very important point that we all need to understand is an algorithm that is created by GenAI may not fit all sizes, right? Because the underlying model that it has been trained on is the data. So like for us, for a fintech organization, or when we are coding something, I can always bring a product like Copilot or Code Whisperer and say generate code. It will generate code, but it will not follow my coding standards that I have. It will not follow all the various components that I already have. Right? So it is important to understand what is the data that you are having, and not, as long as the data is structured across all the organizations, and if it is in the same size and structure.
I think the structuring of data is coming up with a lot of things are coming on public digital infrastructure. Digital public infrastructure, like we have AA, PCR and many more things will keep coming, while we are in a non-finance mode, ABHA and Ayushman Bharat and many more things are coming. You wanted to add some inputs?
No, I think, Europe has done a fantastic job when it comes to opening up APIs, right? India account aggregator is nothing compared to open banking APIs that we have.
I'm smiling. You can continue. Yeah.
So, and I think when you talk about collaboration, I think really the collaboration that is needed is in terms of opening up the data sets, right? And no bank is very comfortable opening up the data set because it's hard earned, like you said. So I think there's a lot of SRO, or I don't know what kind of work, but there's a lot of work to be done over there. But really as a consumer, one of the things I would like from banks, and that's part of also when I say Jarvis for money, right? Why can you not execute transactions seamlessly using AI, right? It does not have to be generative AI, but it's AI, where today, for me to make any bank transfer, like let's say it's an RTGS, especially for businesses, right? Those kinds of transfers, when I do payroll for my company, it's a pain. It's really painful. So I think AI can really play a huge role in bringing about efficiency in banking if applied to improving customer experiences. And the AI can do it without increasing risk, right? It just needs clever application of these different. So algorithms being available, they're already available. Data sets are not available to be able to use those algorithms.
Absolutely. That's how banking is slowly from digital to intelligent banking, where we'll reuse these algorithms at least to do a lot of automation in the back end, which are back office processes, operation processes, data center processes, and so on. And good to see that how banks are really adopting transformation with the help of AI at all the three levels, mid, back, or front also. We will not be surprised, will we do away with interfaces, physical interfaces for banking, and it will be more or less consent-based banking. It is available for you, would you like to go for based upon your transaction patterns. Your face can become a password rather than you put your MPin or I think it's a gradual process. Everything has to be aligned with the right regulations and good. We are blessed with a good regulator, RBI, at least banking context. I think last 10 seconds, everybody, if you see what is that future banking you see, what is that top product you see down the line 3 to 4 years, not more than 2 to 3 seasons. It starts with, yeah.
See, I think primarily from a banking perspective.
Do you think LMS which you offer will be called as a digital or intelligent LMS?
Yeah, it will be a GenAI powered LMS.
Like core banking are still core banking,
core
right?
banking,
Whatever the partners are providing, they have not gone towards next opportunity for same banking customer to build AI or GenAI within a same core banking. Yeah.
Definitely. See, GenAI or AI is always going to come and sit on top of core. So the core is not going to change, but the how core is managed is primarily going to change with GenAI.
Yeah, I really think about the digital banking because if you look at the Ant finance of the China, right, the Alipay, 500 billion transactions in a platform. It is one of the massive, yeah, people cannot think of. So that means today what is happening, the digitalize how to send the tokens to the customers, any offers, anything goes, right? It will just open the digitization tokens and get it happen. So that means you are maintaining your DPDP Act, which Government of India is going to publish. It has already published. We are working, but we don't know how to do it, right? That's the problem. But the digital tokenization and the digital, way of doing things is going to be next. So behind the scene, GenAI, of course, that is one of the thing. But this is one of the area which is going definitely hitting the next 2 to 3 years.
Chaitra,
See, for me, it's what I said, what I started this discussion with. It's that Jarvis for money, right, in everybody's pockets. And from telling it to, hey, I'm earning 50,000 rupees every month. I have 25,000 saved. What are the top 3 mutual funds that I should be investing in? What is the best term insurance plan for me? Which is the best FD for me? Where should I get the best home loan? I think these types of day-to-day questions for people is what a layer over all the banks, right? Because today in fintech, it's largely representation of sell side. What I want to see is buy-side representation, and that's what we are aiming to change because the customer needs to be in charge. Because there's so much mis-selling that happens in this country because of the sell-side representation. I think that is where I see the potential of AI to give honest, correct, unbiased information. That will take a lot of work. It will take the entire ecosystem to come together. So yeah, that's my vision.
So I think we are at the end of a panel discussion considering the time. I think the banking is changing and it keeps changing the way technologies are available. We are now blessed with AI. Maybe down the line 5 years there will be different technologies, super AI or human AI, and there are a lot of things need to be done as far as current AI is concerned. AI is a foundational tech. The way we had internet or AI, it has to cohesively work with other technologies to build good customer experiences. So I think, thank you so much, all of you all, for this wonderful discussion.
I have one quick news. So I recently authored one books and published, so that talks about the cloud, the architecture of AI, and how the evolutions and how we are going to have, lot of AI architecture, cloud architecture, because anything you run, right? So people are slowly moving to cloud, right? Starting from EDW, then, your Cloudera kind of a big data, then right now cloud into the AI, right? So this book talks about the last 60 years, 6 decades, how the growth, the architecture, the platforms. If someone want to know more details, right, you can go to Amazon and get that books, yeah? So you'll have a lot of insights, yeah? Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Prasanna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for this interesting session. Thank you.